Ladies and gentlemen, the Korean stock market has crashed by 50% after a phenomenal 18% rise last Friday. There are a lot of learning lessons behind, but more importantly, will it spill over to the US stock market? Will it, cause more pain and bloodbath? I think there's also a lot of learning lessons behind the reactions of the Korean investors. So let's just watch on till the end as I give you my take. So the Korean stock market has crashed again. And this time around, not by a significant 10% or so, by a 5%. Now, 5% will be a calamity if this happened to any other market. But to the Koreans, 5% crash, maybe they got used to it. But clearly, last Friday's big bull was a trap. So it's what we call a bull trap. Now, why is everybody talking about Korean stock market nowadays? Because there is a AI euphoria. The AI bull run is most significant and most prominent and most promising and most deadly in Korea. In particular, two stocks, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix. And more importantly, in their market emerged a single stock leverage that has attracted a lot of enormous retail interest and got themselves badly hurt. And I think this is the lesson that we all must learn. So today, numbers, we're looking at KOSPI falling by 5% and Samsung and SK Hynix each falling by 9%. So volatility is very severe, that circuit breakers were activated. The real reason why the market is going through all this big phenomenal rise and phenomenal fall is this word, leverage. And I don't know how to tell everybody the danger of leverage, but leverage is very tempting to people, especially younger investors. And when leverage is involved, it can get you massively hurt. I want to quote the late Charlie Munger. His message was always about 3 L's that men should avoid. Ladies, okay, I'm sure he was talking about your wife or your faithful girlfriend, but ladies that you shouldn't get close to. Liquor, alcohol, of course, and leverage, right? So leverage will get yourself really wiped out. And in Korea, there's a phenomenal amount of leverage. And that's a real painful reason why everyone is suffering terribly. First of all, I think it's important to understand when we have 2 times leverage ETFs, it means that you start off with $100,000. If the market goes up by 10%, you will make 20%, which is $20,000. And if the market goes down by 10%, you will lose 20%, which is $20,000. Simple mathematics. So it's 2 times the gains or 2 times the losses. So there is also one additional factor that very few people get to see that enable the Korean investor to multiply their leverage by another 2 times. So what they do is they do this thing called margin borrowing. So basically, they borrow $100,000 and invest in $200,000 instruments. And if they invest in a 2 times leverage, effectively, they're having a 4 times exposure, 4 times leverage. 4 times leverage is very dangerous. And I'm surprised that in Korea, they actually allow this. It's quite a mature stock market, and yet they allow instruments like this. So why 4 times leverage can destroy wealth? Well, the math is very straightforward. You put in a capital of $100,000 and you trade instruments up to $400,000. If the market returns you 10%, you will make 40,000. But if the market lose 10%, you lose 40,000. Which also means that if the market were to decline by 25%, it will wipe out your entire capital. So the Korean stock market have massively declined by close to 40%. And as a result, many of the accounts have been forced to sell. And this is what we call margin calls. And the losses are phenomenal. Now, theoretically, you might say, yes, Mr. Lu, it fell by 40%, but it rebounded by 20%. So net, we are only 20% off. Yes, that's on paper, but when you hit a margin call, you're gone. You don't wait for the thing to come up. You are not part of that pendulum upswing. So you can't, if you don't top up at that point in time, the broker will act for you, force sell for you. And as a result, you get the worst of the liquidity clearance. So the Korean regulators obviously regretted, and they tightened their ETF rules. They reduced the leverage from 2 times to 1.5 or 1 time during stresses. And they also raised margin requirement. They limit retail investors' exposure to leverage product. And I think that these are instruments that should be kept out of the stock market, right? And only be allowed to a small group of investors, typically the accredited investors, which has high net worth. But young people should never have a chance to touch this. And unfortunately, we hear many stories of Korean investors selling their house, mortgaging a house, selling their cars to throw in the stock market to ride this wave. I don't know what gone through their mind, but this is a clear case of a euphoria. So Koreans all over Korea are now screaming and shouting murder and death. And there is a case study of someone who says that I'll never invest again. I'm honestly scared. Rule number one, never invest in the Korean stock market. Rule number two, follow rule number one. So this was Kim Han-young, late 30s, who started investing due to AI excitement, lost heavily, probably almost everything. So Lee Jong-min, a 40-year-old man, took a 50 million won loan, about 40 over thousand Singapore dollars, and secured against his apartment to invest in this market. And when the market crashed, obviously he lost everything. And he blamed the government. The government put fuel into the fire with those leveraged ETF. They turned the stock market into a casino. I didn't see any self-reflection of regret in this case, saying that, it's any of his fault. Case be told, the market did become a casino, and retail investors are calling the market really casino. They played in it and they gamble. So the retail investors sold a record volume of the KOSPI shares, even during the sharp rebound. And a lot of them have swore that they will never touch investing again. I'm not too sure. I've seen this over and over again. Once the market goes up again, they will get crazy over it. Now, let me just say it as point blank as I can. And this is a good lesson for all of us, because all of us in Singapore, Malaysia, and rest of the world, we've not been burned badly because the market crash haven't reached us yet. I'll just say this as categorically clear as I can. Investment is voluntary. Nobody forced you to borrow. Nobody forced you to use leverage. Nobody asked you to chase AI. And nobody asked you to concentrate your entire investment into 2 stocks. Every single investment decisions belong to you, right? You ought to be responsible for your own investment. Who are you blaming? So my own investment philosophy, I don't leverage. I don't touch leverage. And I keep cash reserve and as strong as I can. I keep dry powder all the time so that I don't touch any of the required asset I have, like my house or car or so on. And I only buy during crashes. Okay, I only buy during crashes. And when market collapse, where everybody go crazy selling, I'm the buyer, not the seller. And when market is going up, I keep out of it. Good for those people that make money by chasing bulls. It's a very dangerous thing to chase bulls. You've seen it in Korea. Well, people say, oh no, it only happened in Korea. It won't happen in Singapore, Malaysia, and US. I hope you're right on this, okay? But I've been investing for 20, 30 years. I've seen this happen all over the world. Humans are the same throughout the world. So I think this is very important, that you must get yourself trained and well trained in investment. Don't blindly go and touch investment without training. It's like swimming. I can give you the theory of, you can watch YouTube video, read books how to swim, right? You pull yourself up, you take a deep breath and hit down and swim again, paddle again. I throw in the deep end, you die straight away. So I think it's important that we start with the baby pool first, get a proper swimming coach to train you how to paddle, okay? Once you're ready, then you move yourself to the shallower end of the pool that you can handle, and before you even go deep. But I think most of the Korean investors went to the deep end right away. The next thing I want to emphasize is everyone must have a financial safety net. And the financial safety net will secure you that even if you lose everything on the equities, you could still have have a financial safety net to govern your retirement and so on. And it's an absolute necessity. And there are some saying that maybe it's good that you should only invest in those money you are prepared to part with. You're prepared to lose it all. That's also a good gauge as well. So I think this is something that we all need to take heed of. I always keep myself a huge financial safety net so that in case of volatility and an unforeseen crash, market can crash for a very long time. The Nasdaq has crashed by 80% during the dot-com bust, and that crash lasts for 15 years. So if you bought during a high, you'll be in trouble. And if you buy the global financial crisis, market crash by 50% on the S&P 500, you will also wait for a very long time as well. So I think it's important everybody needs to have a financial safety net. At the heart of it, no one else is responsible but yourself. So therefore, don't blame government, don't blame brokers, don't blame influencers, don't blame financial advisors. Ultimately, you are the person who clicked buy. So the only way to safeguard is to follow some of the safe guardrails I put up for you and be safe when you're investing. Remember, don't use money that you need to chase for money that you don't need. In Chinese, they say it more elegantly, 不要拿需要的钱来追不需要的钱. I think that's a very smart wisdom that everybody should follow. Okay, so with this, I'll just say this in parting. I believe that more turbulence will be coming, especially in the AI and tech space. And although many people thought that the crash is over, I've already said on Friday and Saturday, I don't think the crash is over yet. So be ready so that if the crash were to come, you can take the appropriate action that will benefit yourself. Okay. So it is, thank you, and I'll see you possibly in the live stream tonight if my throat can take it. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.